Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Cancer. If Cancer is your solar, lunar, ascendant/rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. Okay, let's see what these tea leaves have to say tonight. You can hear the cat crunching away. Okay, so our card that I pulled for this reading tonight is the Knight of Cups. And this is very much related to some temptation, maybe? A desire to help. Maybe finding some ease in the act of giving up. Finding a calm place. Really working against instincts that don't serve you in the place that you're at right now. They might later, maybe they did before. Right now, they don't seem to be helping. Okay. At least according to this card. And that's not definite. These cards, of course, this is not a tarot reading, but the card does give me a little bit of help narrowing down what maybe is going on. Kind of giving me a place to start. Okay, so we do have a heart right here, and this is in the emotional zone on the edge of the bowl here. So I do think that there is some kind of love, care, something happening in your life where you are relating to somebody. I feel like in this time you are kind of in a position of being helpful to somebody else. I don't know that this is necessarily romantic, but I do think that this is somebody who really needs somebody on their side. They need somebody to listen to them. They need somebody to be supportive, have a kind word for them. And I think that you have been that person, which I think that you in this role are usually a really amazing listener, right? I think that you are somebody who is consistent, who checks in, but not overly emotional. Okay, there's not, there's an attachment, but it's within reason, right? You're not super emotionally, married to this situation, the negatives of this situation. You are you're somebody that can just be there, and you don't have to necessarily give advice unless they want to give it. So if you come to somebody like me who is a Virgo, of course it's very hard for me not to try to give you advice, give you some some insights. I get very emotionally attached, involved in whatever people bring to me, right? And but I think for you, you are in this unique position where you have this a bit of stoicism, I would say. It's not that you don't feel things, right? You do. But you aren't going to let it overtake you, right? This is probably why you're good at being somebody who can advocate for others, help people kind of figure out. I think of somebody almost like, you know, like a, I don't know, like an insurance person, or like even like a social worker that maybe does more of the like finding resources, you know, these kinds of things where you can figure out all of the, you know, the kind of, I don't know, bureaucratic kind of stuff. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, I think that this is definitely, now, I do think, and I'm looking right here, we have this little, it looks like a little crab kind of, and it looks like it does have a heart right here. So I do feel like, although while you're in the immediate interaction, you're not necessarily like overstepping or being, you know, bringing too much of your own emotionality to the situation. But I think that there is some kind of a rising fondness for this person. And I don't necessarily think that this is somebody who you are dating or like married to or anything like that. I think that this is maybe more of a friend, an acquaintance, somebody maybe, you know, like you chat with or something. Maybe you know them from some kind of social group. But I do think that there are little stirrings of, I don't know that it's necessarily just attraction, but it is a fondness. You enjoy talking to this person, even though sometimes the conversations are difficult. They're going through a rough time. So what I will say is that, and this is something that, you know, this is something that happens in, let's see, I feel like, I'm looking at this one and it looks like a person, it looks like they're almost like catching a bird. They have like a stick out that looks like they're catching them, but then you turn it over and it looks like they're kind of like in a battle. Right here, the person, it almost looks like they have a sword, like they're attacking this bird. But here's the thing. I think that when you are being there for somebody who is in a vulnerable state, right? There is this space where you connect with somebody very deeply, and there can be feelings that come of that, right? But it's, you know, you really have to be very careful when somebody's going through something, because their mind is, you know, it's not in, I mean, I would say, in a suitable place to be making a romantic bond. Okay. Also, you know, I think it's just it's not ideal to build a foundation off of a situation where somebody is suffering and the other person is in a support kind of role. That's not to say that it won't change with time, and then, you know, you can kind of work into a relationship as you become closer and closer. But I really just don't think that beginning a relationship in a desperate place is always the best idea. Of course, sometimes it happens and it works out just fine. But in this situation with this sign, I just think it's like a tussle, right? If if those boundaries are kind of crossed too early. So I think that, Cancers, you're good at being patient with things. You're good at tempering your emotions and taking your time. And so I think that you already know this. I think that you're good at being a good friend. You're good at being somebody who is there without expectation. And so it makes sense that you would be in this position with somebody. But I would say to limit the kind of impulse to take this further until things kind of get a little bit better for this person who is going through whatever they're going through. Okay. And, there's no time frame on that. Of course, we all have our own kind of time of processing things and getting through things, and so it's it's hard to say exactly. Now, I really like this one. It looks like a little squirrel kind of sitting up on this. It looks like a pole with like a nest on it, and I almost think of like an eagle's nest, or I'm trying to think what these birds are called. But do you know those like they're bird cam, like live feeds? Osprey, I think that's what they're called. And I remember a couple of years, probably during the pandemic, when I was at home, of course, like everybody else, I was watching a lot of these bird kind of, soap operas playing out with their eggs hatching, and are they going to make it? And, and anyways, there were quite a few where they were on these just weird, like, pole things near parking lots and stuff. And so anyways, I think of this as like, being kind of like building your own little home in a place that, and with the squirrel, which is interesting, we have some squirrels that live in a tree right out the back where I can watch them go in their little hole and stuff. I see them especially in the winter coming in and out because I give them peanuts and things. And anyways, it's fun watching them, kind of go about their business and everything and rebuild and build their little homes. And so I feel like you are just really in a place of wanting to kind of set firmer roots, maybe getting to a place where you don't want to move around anymore. You want to have kind of that really set, nice nest that is kind of really, and these birds, they return to them when they are, when they're having their little babies and stuff. So they usually, and I didn't know this about like eagles and that too, is that they keep the same nest for years. So, you think of little birds, a lot of times they'll rebuild nests and whatnot every season, especially if they're migratory. But anyways, I just feel like there's just a sense of wanting to settle down a bit, at least in the sense of, having a home base. And with the squirrel, definitely a sign of, kind of preparing for that, kind of saving your pennies and getting your resources together, squirreling things away, and working diligently at kind of getting all of that stuff sorted out, financial plans, and your goals that you want to hit, and all these kinds of things. And I think that it seems like there's a lot of good energy there. I think that, again, you're a person that can take their time with things. You can continue to be in kind of a posture of patience and motivation, and kind of working hard at the same time. So all of those things together really can be very useful. Now, as I'm saying this, I'm thinking, if you are helping somebody, and here we have another squirrel right there. I guess just, be mindful of, if you are somebody who is saving their money, working towards, like maybe purchasing a home or having a bigger apartment or whatever it is, that you don't help too much, especially financially. I'm not saying don't ever help anybody financially, but be, discerning. It can be pretty sketchy out here. Really, it can be. So we have to be careful, who we trust and where we put our money, and, how well do we know people, and, just these kinds of things. It's just so many scammy things. I guess personally, and maybe it's my age group, because, us millennials, we're not, a lot of us are not made of money. So I don't really, I haven't experienced a lot of scam stuff. I mean, the regular kind of things. But then, or our older generation, like my parents, my kind of acquired parents, they have all kinds of weird scam things happening all the time. And it really amazes me how sophisticated some of the stuff is, because they literally, have had people contact them who are, masquerading as, some person they know on like Facebook or something, and try to solicit money from them for like some kind of help. Like, oh, my car's broken down and I need some money wired to me, this kind of thing. And they don't know if it's the real person or not. And like, I'm sure that happens to so many older people. So we just have to be really careful. Also, shout out to this, what is it called? I have to find the name of it. It's a YouTube channel, and it's like about romance scams on the internet, and like these people who are catfished, and they give all this money to people, and that they've never met or anything. And oh my goodness. So anyways, I won't get too far into that, but I do watch those. I really do. I've brought that up before on other readings. You have to be careful, you guys. Like, be so careful. Definitely. Okay, so we also have a cardinal right here. The cardinal for me always is somebody who is passed coming to visit you, to tell you they love you, they're thinking of you. Maybe they have some kind of particular messaging for you. So kind of keep your eye out in the next week or two to see if there's any kind of dreams that come through, some kind of, particular symbol or sign, number that kind of shows up that makes sense to you in relation to a family member that's probably departed. Okay, let's see. Now, I'm just looking at this. There's another heart here, and it's actually kind of similar to this one, although it's not as well formed. And I see this person like hanging on to it right here. And this is that same crab formation. So I really feel like you are just in a place of really, like, as much as, as romantic and taken with romance as a Cancer really could be, outwardly anyways. I know that you all have some pretty deep romantic interior lives, but it really seems like you are kind of like holding on to some kind of love, some kind of romantic idea or relationship or connection. Maybe there is, if you're married, you're going through kind of a nice reconnecting time with your spouse. Things are going good. You're really excited to be around each other, to do things, make the most of the time you are together, and same with a partnership or a long-term relationship. And maybe if you're dating or there's somebody that you have your eye on, you just really have that growing fondness for them. So I do feel like there's a kind of swelling of the heart here. Okay, and now we're gonna, and then we have a heart down here too, right here. So, okay, I guess this is just really turned into a reading. I didn't know that this is going to be so much about love. I did not get that vibe when I was starting. And I'm sorry, I'm a little yawny. My goodness, this day just took it out of me. Every day does. I feel like they're so long. But, with the weather, the warm weather, it really gets you. All right, so I did just want to also look at this one. And it kind of almost, it looks like a house. And so I feel like you just really want to settle down there, Cancer. Or get more settled. Or maybe find a new home to make your own. And that's fun. It's fun. I look forward to, maybe moving around a little bit in the future. I do not look forward to all the packing and moving and all that stuff. That is a lot. It really is. I know somebody in one of the comments was saying the other day that they were moving, and I really hope that their move went well. It really is one of those things when somebody's like, oh, I'm moving. Even when it's just you, a single person, moving your stuff, that's stressful. But when you have animals, when you have family members, when you have, a lot of stuff, if you're a collector of any kind, we collect books. So we have so many books, and I think when we're going to move, if we ever do, it's going to be like so many books. Oh my goodness. But it's worth it. I love books. I love looking for books. I love buying books. So I can't complain. All right. I want to thank you so much, Cancer. I really appreciate being able to spend this time with you to bring these messages to you. If you'd be so kind as to like the video, it helps us get into the algorithm. And I say us because we are a community here at the channel. We're really building it so quickly. I mean, I just was saying that we hit 10K, I think last week, last week. Now we're almost at 11K. So it's just, it's amazing. I appreciate all of you. If you haven't subscribed, please think about doing that. You can hit the little bell. It'll let you know when the next video is coming out. And in the meantime, between now and the next reading for Cancer, you can watch your other placements. You can do some cross-watching for your loved one, maybe this person that you're interested in. whoever you like to kind of check up on. And other than that, if you want to leave a comment, I read every single one of them. Sometimes it takes me a day or so to get back to them, but I do read them. And I do appreciate all the love, all the kind of silly messages. Some of them are pretty silly. And then other ones are just so heartfelt. And, you know, I really, really appreciate those of you who, you know, are vulnerable. You share about your lives, and I mean, it really touches my heart. So thank you. All right, we will talk again in a few days. In the meantime, take care of yourself.